Welcome into Duval Daily, presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan DeLuga. Thanks so much for tuning in here on Friday, December 20th. Jags are obviously getting ready to take on the Las Vegas Raiders. Big game, right? Depends on your perspective. It's a big game if you're talking about potential NFL draft implications. The Raiders currently hold the first overall pick. They're hosting the Jaguars. If the Jaguars lose this football game, they're going to jump the Raiders. And the Raiders are going to fall way down the draft board. I think the Giants would still be number one, or the Giants would move up to number one, assuming they don't win this weekend. But we've talked a good bit about that football game. Right now, we're talking more about a specific player for the Jacksonville Jaguars. His name is Brian Thomas Jr. You may have heard of him. Jaguars first round pick. They traded down in the first round. Risky proposition by Trent Baalke, but it paid off. It paid off in a big way. And Brian Thomas Jr., who was, the fourth wide receiver drafted? Behind the big three, Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, Rome Odunze. He's been the most productive of them all. And from a physical skill set standpoint, maybe the most impressive of them all. So right now we're kind of talking about how he's winning, what his skill set is, how he can improve, and ultimately answering the question, is he already a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL? Pretty wild to think about. The Jaguars have really struggled when it comes to identifying receiver talent over the years. They obviously struck gold early on with Jimmy Smith and Keenan McCardell, and I think Jimmy Smith would already be a Hall of Famer had his career not been cut short by some struggles with, drug abuse. We don't have to sugarcoat it. Justin Blackmon, fantastic receiving prospect and a fantastic NFL receiver, but also had some off the field issues, some, substance abuse issues. RJ Soward, very talented receiver the Jaguars drafted. Same thing with the issues. Matt Jones, talented receiver. Same thing. Substance abuse, different issues. They've just had a hell of a time, but I think that this time, they got it right. Shad Khan's favorite words. I think they actually did, though. Brian Thomas Jr. has been fantastic for the Jaguars throughout his rookie year. His physical skill set is so impressive. The questions coming out of college for him really had nothing to do with the physical skill set. It was really about, he was a number 2 receiver at his own school. He didn't really break out until year 3. He didn't have a highly expansive route tree. So there was some questions about usage and production and all that, but the physical skill set, 6'3", really a shade under 6'3", but for all intents and purposes, 6'3", long arms. You pull up Mock Draftable, which is a great resource for looking up different players at different positions coming out in the draft and their percentiles. You get a nice spider chart. Okay, 6'3", 209 pounds. That's 77th percentile height, 67th percentile weight. 79 and 5/8 inch wingspan, 89th percentile. Arm length, 32 and 3/4, 72nd percentile. Hand size, 9 and 3/4, 76th percentile. 10-yard split, 1.5, 88th percentile. 40-yard dash, 4.33, 94th percentile. Vertical jump, 38.5 inches, 82nd percentile. Broad jump, 126 inches, 79th percentile. Bench press, bench press, 11 reps, that is 19th percentile. So not the strongest dude out there, certainly. But when you have longer arms, that makes it difficult to put up the bench press reps that some other guys can that have shorter arms. I don't think that play strength has really presented any issues for him. You talk about what he's doing on the field really well. How is he winning? He's winning at all 3 levels. Another question about his skill set coming into the league was how good is he going to be against press? I think he's done a really good job defeating press at the line of scrimmage, and he continues to grow in that area. He's using his hands very well at the line to get past defenders that are trying to press him. And he also just has this obvious athleticism, explosiveness, quickness, almost a slitheriness to the way he can move to get around guys. So he's winning at the line of scrimmage. He's winning throughout the route. Like, he is just really difficult to keep up with pretty much on any route. It's just hard because he's fast, he's quick, he's got length. It's a tough cover. And even when you're in good position covering him deep down the field, you've seen it a couple times where he's wide open, obviously deep down the field. You've also seen, though, where like a great corner like a Christian Gonzalez is able to make up ground and catch up with him and make it a difficult catch. He's able to haul those in over the shoulder, running full speed down the field. So that's really difficult to deal with for corners. But he's also winning a lot more now since the Jaguars are realizing they need to force feed him the ball. They're getting him the ball on screens and he's picking up yak. He's able to create yardage there. And some of the receivers and other guys out there are doing a pretty good job blocking as of late for him as well. You talk about winning over the middle of the field. He can do that. He's started to run more slants and things like that. He's been really darn impressive. Where can he improve? I think at the catch point, while he's been pretty solid, pretty strong overall. Like, you look at the numbers, he hasn't dropped a ton of footballs. I think he would like to improve in that regard in terms of just not dropping easy ones. Like, you pull up the stats here. His drop rate is 7.2%, which is well within the range of being very comfortable with that. And it's been a lot better as of late. Like, he had a drop in week 2. He had 2 drops in week 3. Since then, he's only had 2 drops the rest of the way. Like, his hands have been very reliable. The one thing you could say is at the catch point, I think that there has been some double catching. And to be executing at ultimate efficiency, double catching leads to more varied results, right? Like, even if you make the play when you're double catching, that leads to potentially more variance with the results. So I think he's actually improved in that, and that's kind of like sometimes you see it, sometimes you don't. So continuing to improve in that regard, and then just knowing the depth of where he's supposed to be with every route. I think 2 of Trevor Lawrence's interceptions on the same type of play. Brian Thomas Jr. wasn't at the right depth, and this isn't a secret. Like, it's been talked about. He was not quite at the right depth, and Trevor Lawrence, it looked like, just sailed the ball over his head, but really that was a timing-based, a depth-based read by Trevor Lawrence throw, and Brian Thomas Jr. wasn't in the right spot. So that's the type of things he can continue to hone and improve. But still unbelievably impressive. He's 9th in receiving yards among all wide receivers with 956 so far this year. He's tied for 5th in touchdown receptions. He has the 6th longest catch of the year at 85 yards. He's 10th in yards after catch. He's averaging 15 yards per catch. His numbers are really astounding for a rookie. Bottom line. And when you combine that with the fact that they are force feeding him the ball, teams know that they're force feeding him the ball now, it's even more impressive. And they're doing it in different ways. So is he a top 10 receiver right now in the NFL? I mean, I think to answer that question, you're talking about if you're lining up this weekend, which wide receivers would you take ahead of him? I don't think there's 10 guys. I really don't. I think probably Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra St. Brown, maybe. I mean, it depends on what you really need in that game, I would say. CeeDee Lamb, probably same thing. Really depends on your needs. Probably A.J. Brown, probably Tyreek Hill. But is there 10 receivers you would rather have right now than Brian Thomas Jr.? I really don't think there is. It's not a long list. And that's incredible. That is so incredible for the Jaguars, for the future, for building a core, for building this passing offense through Trevor Lawrence and Brian Thomas Jr. and continuing to build around those guys long term. It's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun to see Brian Thomas Jr. continue to work in Jacksonville. So let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. You can also hit that notification bell. If you want to support the channel further, you can become a channel member here on YouTube. You can also check out genjag.com/shop. Pick up some new Duval gear like the hat I'm wearing right now. Really appreciate y'all's support. Have a good one.